Okay, so this tutorial is on adjustment layers. So you find your adjustment layers up here under Layer, New Adjustment Layer. Okay, so you've got quite a few of them in here. I tend to use brightness, contrast, levels, curves. I never use exposure. Don't use vibrance. Hue saturation I use quite a bit. And I don't really use any of the others. So I'll take you through those ones that I do use because I think they're the most useful, obviously. And hue saturation is probably the most interesting. So we'll start there. So hue saturation, the most important thing about this pop-up box is this checkbox here. So it says use previous layer to create clipping mask. Now if you've only got one layer in there, then it's not going to make a difference. But if you've got lots and lots of layers, you may only want to change the hue and saturation on one particular layer. When you want to only use one particular layer, click this, and that way it'll only change that one layer. Okay, so I'm just going to go OK because I've only got one layer. Alright, and this box comes up here. So basically what you want to be at, what you can do is basically change the colors in your image. So you can move this slider and you can see all of a sudden you can have a purple or a pink forest or whatever you want. Now sometimes all you'll want to do is just like change it slightly, and you might just want to bump up the saturation to make it, you know, slightly more lush or slightly more surreal kind of image. Or you just may want to do something crazy. So that's hue saturation. Now I'm just going to hide that. If you want to change, if you've done something and then decide, oh no, that's not exactly what I wanted to do, you can just double click on it and it'll bring it back up, and you can change your file again. So I'm just going to take that sort of back to where it was, maybe just bump it off a bit. Right. So I'm just going to turn that layer off and show you another adjustment layer. Layer, new adjustment layer. Let's go curves next. Go OK. Alright, so this is a diagram of the color balance within your image. This is your dark, this is your light. So you can see I can drag that up and it can make it darker. I can drag that down and it can make it lighter. This is particularly good if you've got overexposed images or underexposed images. You can get rid of some of the blowout that an image has. The other thing you can do, I tend to put an S in these, and you can drag it down and stuff and play around with it a bit. So this is how you can increase your blacks or your whites or something like that. So you can make it a bit more of an eerie image if you want. Okay, so that's your curves. Brightness contrast is a pretty easy one. It's pretty self-explanatory. Brightness, contrast. What else do we have here? Levels. So this is the one that I actually tend to use most for just fixing up sort of my exposure. So for example, if you had a cloudy sky, you could just bring this down, and it's going to knock out your whites. Oh, it's going to increase your whites. So if you wanted to make it whiter, brighter sky, or the other thing you could do is you could bring the grey up, and that changes your mid-tone point. And so if you wanted a bit more detail in clouds or something, yeah. Or if your image is too bright overall and you want more darks, then you can drag it up here too. Okay, so that's your adjustment layers. You can play around with the other ones. Those are the main ones I wanted to take you through.